Hello, and welcome to The Storied Human. My guest today is Kristine Homann. She's a registered nurse and a certified health and life coach. Her journey began long before that, though. Breaking free from a toxic marriage left her feeling lost, but it also sparked an incredibly powerful transformation. Through self love, resilience, and a lot of mindset work, she reclaimed her story and built a life she's proud of. Today, she now helps others do the same, guiding them to rewrite their narratives and thrive after life's challenges. And we can't wait to hear more about that. Welcome, Kristine. It's so good to have you on.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
So, why don't we start with how you changed? I mean, it's always so amazing to me how people get the courage to make such big changes in their life.
Well, it was definitely a process. When I was finally able to break free for good from my marriage, it took several years of trying to make it work and just doing what we could to make it work, and it just wasn't happening. It took me the fourth time of actually leaving and staying out to finally break free from the unfortunate toxicity that relationship had for both of us. So finally, after being able to break free that fourth time, I thought the easy part was over, but that was long. That was definitely not the issue. The easy part, honestly, is being able to break free. The hard part was learning how to love myself again. That was a struggle that I struggled with for several years, actually, and I hate to say it, but it really affected my daughter's lives as well. I had teenage girls, preteen girls. When our divorce was final, I had three teenage girls, and just me not knowing exactly how to love myself was affecting them as well, because they not only were affected by the divorce and our family breaking up, but they were struggling with their own things at the time, and seeing mom not knowing like how to navigate life after being in a marriage and in a family setting like that was really difficult. Um, I'm actually also working on getting certified as a divorce coach, and I read last night in my textbook that divorce is the second most um it's the second most devastating event that people can go through, first being the loss of a significant other due to death.
I believe it.
So healing after divorce is something that takes a lot of time, and I found that finding a workout program for me. I was always an active person, so I enjoyed like being out in nature and just being active in general, but finding actual workout programs and an exercise routine that worked for me is
Yeah.
the first thing that actually helped me build that strength and that resilience, that mindset that I needed to be able to pursue other things that I had been thinking about. And that is what really helped me start the process of loving myself again. Because as I finish certain workout programs, it would help build my confidence and help tell me, hey, I can do this. If I can do this, there's other things that I can do. So that's what really helped me get on the path that I'm on now. And there are so many things that I'm finding that other people don't realize are available to them to help them heal in whatever it is they're dealing with. And I have a lot of those available to help people with. And I want to just reach as many people as possible because I know firsthand what it felt like for me to learn how to love myself again. And now that I'm through all of that and on the other side of it, I
Yeah.
just I have such a passion and want to help other people do the same.
That's such a great way to use what happened to you. That is like so healing and amazing. I love when I hear that. I love when people do that because to me, that gives meaning and purpose to your new life with your new self. And I'm really impressed that you did the workouts. I don't think we talk about that enough, that we need the physical stuff too, that really helps with everything else. And I know I should be working out more. I have a feeling my listeners should be working out more. So it's a great reminder that that's part of it, that makes you feel better and that brings you to a place where you feel a sense of accomplishment. And I wanted to say that as hard as it might have been for your daughters, they've also got to learn how to heal from watching it. As hard as it was for them to see you go through that, they've seen you do this. And that's so important. They've learned more than you even know. And that's so good that you were able to do this in front of them because now they know, you can get down, but you can get back up and you can
Right.
learn.
And it's interesting that you say that because I get all warm and fuzzy inside when I now see my daughters like starting a workout routine, or they like they're not consistent at it yet, but they're getting there, and I just like wanna just hug them because they see and they absorb so much more than we realize. And yes, what you just said is spot on. They really watch you as a parent and
So
they look up
lovely
to you.
because as hard as it was, you showed them you can make a new life. You can heal from this as hard as life can be. And that's such a great lesson for their future.
Mhm.
So
Agreed.
tell me more about how you got to this point. Like you're a nurse, right?
I am.
And you just how did you evolve into a health and wellness certified health and life coach?
So I've been a, yes. I've been a nurse for almost 25 years now.
Wow.
And I feel that just helping people in that aspect and being of service to people in that aspect has just always been rooted inside of me. And with going through the struggles that I went through after my divorce was final, I knew there was something else that was calling me to want to be of service to other people for. And so I honestly I had pursued my life coach certificate even while I was still married, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I didn't pursue it any further, so I never got certified. So once my divorce was final, I actually was enrolled in in a university to get my nurse practitioner license, and I was in my second semester, and this was about a year after my divorce was final. Um, an unfortunate event happened that caused my daughters to need to live with me full time, and we were stuck in Oh, I was needing to dedicate a lot of my time to being in court and dealing with what was going on with that particular circumstance. And with my girls living with me full time and working full time as a nurse, I knew that something had to give, and I wasn't going to be able to pursue my nurse practitioner degree any further. And that was part-time, so I stopped doing that. And within a few months is when um, I I saw something I think on the internet that talked about getting your life coaching and health coaching certificate. And it was going to be an amount of time that I felt I could dedicate, even with having my girls full time. And I'm a firm believer that if you are really paying attention to what's coming at you or coming into your life, the universe gives you signs all the time. It's just if you're paying attention to it or not is
Yeah.
going to help determine the path that you take in life. So this was the universe telling me that this was my calling since I had initially wanted to do life coaching. So I got my life coaching certificate, my health and life coaching certificate, and the fire that I feel inside when I'm helping people reach their goals, I just I it's indescribable.
Yeah.
I can't hardly even describe how it makes me feel to be helping people reach their goals and feel better about themselves and motivate them and inspire them to be better because we all have the opportunity to be better every single day, and it just lights me up inside. So, that's how I ended up getting my certification. And as life goes on, I'm finding other things are attracting to me and pulling me in the direction that I'm headed now. So, long story short, that's how.
I love this. I love the whole thing. I love the idea that sometimes we have to give up something that we started, and it instead of feeling like a failure, you just said, well, what pulls me again? Like in a few months, something showed up in your life and you were like, oh, well, I'm supposed to do this. Like you really roll with the punches. And most people who are nurses and enjoy it and have done it for as long as you have what they call a, they have a calling. They really have that. So I love that this came sort of out of that, that somebody gets all that good nurse stuff and wellness and, health and I keep saying it wrong, health and life coach. So it's really that wonderful combo that I think you offer. But I'm very impressed that you say stuff shows up for us because sometimes I don't pay attention, and I'll look back and say, oh, I probably should have done something about that. So how do we know? Like, how do we know when something is calling us? Like, do we develop our intuition or does it show up more often than once? Or how do you think we know?
I think you know by really paying attention to how your body feels. And honestly, this is one of the things that I teach in my program, the Feel Good Formula, is how
That's
to
so
really
cool.
tune into your intuition. For me, it's a gut feeling, and I can feel it in my gut, but it doesn't happen in that place for everybody. It's somewhere different in everybody's body. So just paying attention to how it makes you feel in your body when something comes up, or just being observant of what's around you.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. It's just amazing how the universe gives you clues. And if it's up to you if you decide to take it or
Yeah.
let that one go and move on to the next one.
I've noticed that I get more when I cut out some of the noise in my life, when I'm able to be still. Do you teach those kinds of practices? Like, do you meditate or do you teach people to meditate
Yes, those are all also
as part
parts
of it?
parts of the program.
That's so interesting to me because none of us in the Western world were raised that way. And yet that's really what we should be doing is being quiet. And that's so much a part of mindset and staying in the present, and then you're going to get those messages. But I fall into the trap. I would get all like involved in social media or I doom scroll, and I'm like, have to catch myself. So I think that's another thing that's important to mention is that we have to keep trying. And I was talking to a friend and she said, well, I am better about these things, but it keeps happening. And I said, well, I think that what I've noticed is the work I've done on myself. I don't participate in negative behaviors as long. Like I catch them sooner. They don't go away completely. It's like they're grooves in your brain, but I'm catching myself sooner and that makes me happy.
You know,
So,
it's funny. It's funny you say that. I'm actually working on an ebook right now on breaking the cycle of negative thoughts because
wow.
being in the type of relationship that I was able to break free from, it's not uncommon for during the healing process to ruminate and overthink things over and over and over again. So having tools available to stop you when your thoughts try to run away with you is crucial to healing. And meditation is one of those tools that helps you focus your mind and rewire your thought processes. Actually, it helps you learn how to calm your mind, as you said. So,
And and I've noticed change is not, of course, nothing's fast, right? But I've noticed when you take a moment, you say, well, I'm different now from last year, or it's different. I remember a time when I would have overreacted to that. And it's really just being aware, like you said, really being mindful. And that's just, to me, that's a constant struggle trying to keep myself from, reading too much or watching too much. I mean, I really am trying to work. That's a New Year's resolution, by the way.
Well,
Read
good
real
luck with that.
books. Yeah, read real books, right? So tell me
Mhm.
more about the book. I'd love to hear about the article. I'm pretty excited. You're kind of on fire.
I feel like I'm on fire. I'm
No,
surprised I'm
it's
not burning
lovely.
up this
It's so
computer right now.
exciting to hear. Yeah, it's really great.
So the ebook that I'm working on, like I said, it's going to help give tips on how to effectively stop those thought processes when when you are able to catch them. Negative thoughts have a way of running away with our minds, and this is actually one of the things also that I teach in my mindset workshop. Um, and it helps a lot to hear a particular story. So when I was a teenager, I loved showing horses, and I we didn't have an outside riding arena. We didn't have an indoor riding arena. I had a pasture that I rode my horse in, and I rode him so much that I wore a path in the pasture. And being persistent and consistent with riding wore that path, that oval path in the pasture. And that's a lot of what our thoughts do in our mind is, especially when we're overthinking, they continuously wear a path in our mind, if you will. So learning how to stop those thought processes and move on to new ones is so crucial. And that's part of what that ebook talks about is giving tips on breaking free and like being able to recognize that you're having those negative thoughts so that you can stop them in their tracks and start having positive thoughts. Because if you're constantly in negative thought, negativity land, I like to call it, you are attracting negative things into your life. But if you can be more optimistic, you're going to start attracting more positive things in your life and things go better for you. So
Such a great
that's
point.
one of the tips that I will describe more in that book is the 5 4 3 2 1 um second. I don't know if you are familiar with Mel Robbins, but she has a five
Love
second
her.
rule. So it's
Love
very
her.
similar to that 5 second rule of counting down from 5 4 3 2 1 and then move. So that's one of the tips that I'll be explaining more in that book when it's out.
This is so helpful. People need this. And I've learned so much about this in maybe the last couple of years. I have an accountability group that I meet with every week from the podcast. And the podcast class that I was in was a lot about mindset. I learned a whole lot about mindset. It wasn't just about how to podcast. It was Kathy Heller. I always give her a shout out because she's really amazing and she's super famous. And we got like time with her. I was like kind of crazy when I look back on it. But what's helped me so much is talking to these women every week, and they're both life coaches, and one of them is a journalist, and one of them is a has a PhD in epidemiology, but she's moving into the climate space. But they're so informative. And what I got about this, what I got out of all this, is like you're saying, it's not just that you can help yourself be less negative, but you'll attract different things. I think that's so important to say. You'll put yourself in another space. You'll put yourself in another. You'll receive different messages. You'll other people will come into your life, and that's been really true for me. And another thing I'm thinking about when you're talking is that I just see that a lot of us, when we were younger, I really went through life kind of reacting. Something would happen, I would react. Something happened, I would react, and I would get like really offended by stuff. That's one thing I've noticed. I was so offended, and a lot of my friends were always offended. And that's such an insecure thing. And that's such a, somebody who's not rooted and not maybe grounded. And I look back and say, wow, I could have used this like back then. But I'm really grateful that I've come to this place where people are helping me and sharing with me, and that through my platform, I can share it with other people because this is timeless information. This is really good for everybody, no matter what age you are or where you are in your life. these practices really help you not be reactive, not go through life like banging into things and then reacting. Instead, you can be, I mean, you still might bang into something, but you'll calm yourself and you'll decide how you're going to react.
Correct. Correct.
So that's very powerful. What you said was very powerful. So when is this ebook coming out?
Well, I would love to have a date to give you.
Well,
I
maybe
don't
just,
have a date to give you, but
ballpark,
I'm sorry.
ballpark, just a
Ballpark, I would
ballpark. Yeah.
love to have it come out within the next 2 months.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yes.
good. And I noticed you have a free, um, is it an article or a PDF that people can get from your website?
So I have it's a mindset mastery guide. It's a free
It's a
guide that
guide.
anybody can
That's the word I
download.
was looking for.
Yep.
Okay, good. So, and what is your website? How can people get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me by going to youquest.live, and it's youquest.live.
uquest.live. Good. And that's where they
Quest,
can get the guide and read more about you. And
correct.
is there anything else that you want to share today?
Well, you had mentioned earlier also, today is the very first day that my very first article got published
Oh,
in
yes,
Tiny
yes.
Buddha.
Tell
Um,
me.
so it's titled "Sometimes the Bad Times Lead You to the Best Time of Your Life," and I um I
You're
just
super.
got the email today saying that the link was live. So if you go to Tiny Buddha, you can see. I'm just pulling it up here now. I should say the title of the article is Four Lessons I Learned from Leaving a Toxic Relationship. And I talk about one of the unfortunate events that I went through after my marriage had ended, with dealing with my two younger daughters struggled a lot with mental health issues. And so I talk about one of the incidents that happened in that article, but then at the bottom I give those four tips that I learned from healing from leaving that relationship. And the one of them is moving my body with exercise, like we talked about
Yeah,
at the beginning of the podcast here. But yeah, if you want to read the article, it's on Tiny Buddha, and it's
I will.
called Four Lessons I Learned from Leaving a Toxic Relationship.
I think it's so cool that you found out today, synchronicity, right? That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. I know people will feel inspired by your story, and I know hopefully they'll learn from you and reach out and best of luck to you.
Thank you.